This is the Light of Truth radio broadcast with Michael Boldea.
All right, welcome to the program, and thank you for joining us. This is the Light of Truth radio broadcast. I am your host, Michael Boldea, also known as Fat White Devil. Good to be with you, as has become customary. I do have the tendency of letting you know when we record, and today is a recording, but fear not, it is a fresh recording. As of... let's see, Gino's playing around with something back there, but I'm still going to press forward because I don't want to start recording again. I got things to do. It's rainy outside. So here we go. It is April the 8th, 2021, and like I said, it's a fresh recording, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to get into. But first, we have a new sponsor to the program. They reached out, and I was glad to oblige. Thank you, Ann, for making all that noise. See, we're a professional outfit here. I mean, we are just professionalism and the embodiment thereof. But as I was saying, we have a new sponsor to the show, and this was pre-recorded a few days ago. I'm going to play it because I think it's important. It's an important sponsor, and they decided to reach out, and so I was glad to oblige. So here's the recording. Hi, I'm Michael Boldea. You may know me from this radio program or from being an angel investor in the internationally renowned Bucket of Gruel brand. When you strip away the money, the fame, the chiseled abs, and the private jets, I'm just like you. And just like you, I was deathly afraid. Yes, I can admit it. I was deathly afraid of a virus with a 99.8 survivability rate. But no longer, because I went and I got my vaccine, and you should too. But Michael, you may ask, what about the partial paralysis, uncontrollable shakes, blurry vision, anal leakage, migraine headaches, and suicidal thoughts? Fair question. But all in all, I say it's a small price to pay for being sure I don't get the sniffles. Just to be safe, though, keep doubling up on your mask, avoiding human contact, and being a shut-in, even after you get your vaccine. The COVID vaccine. If I could move my arm, I'd give it a thumbs up for sure. And that was our sponsor. We were sponsored by the COVID vaccine, where they want to put a shot in every arm. That was recorded just after I got mine. So I had a little issue with the right side of my face, but that seems to be clearing up. The shakes and the anal leakage have not abated, though. So in case somebody takes this seriously, tis a joke. But it was a funny one. Look, that's I guess it's as good a place to start as any. They're trying to oversell people. They're trying to hard sell people on this thing. And I have a problem with being hard sold on anything, really. Whenever somebody is too enthusiastic about closing the deal, it makes me oddly suspicious. And this stems from a vacation. It was shortly after the wife and I got married. Didn't have much dinero. Not that I have much dinero now, but we had less then. And we went to Mexico. And after we checked in, somebody walked up and they were offering a free sunset dinner cruise if we would oblige them and sit through a 45-minute presentation. Now, a sunset dinner cruise was not in the budget. We went with one of those all-inclusives. I brought like $13.30 with me just in case I needed to buy some chicle, which means gum, to those of you who are white and have not traveled to Mexico. By the way, another good bit of news, we had a little bit of sunshine in Wisconsin. It was like only 3 hours yesterday, but I tan quickly, so Coca-Cola, I'm less white. Just so you know. Please let me know if I can commence consuming your diabetes-inducing sugar water now that I'm less white. Anyway, so I didn't know what the presentation was going to be. Look, you learn quickly, though, don't you? Anybody who's ever been on one of these vacations or on a vacation and they had somebody come up and offer you something for free just to sit through 45-minute presentations, know exactly what it's about. But the wife thought it would be exciting. She thought it would be great. You know, free dinner. How can they make any money if they give everything for free? Anyway, believe me, they don't give anything for free. And they do make money because there is a sucker born every minute. So we signed up. We showed up. They did their 45-minute presentation, and you guessed it, it was for a timeshare. And by the end of it, they got so aggressive. Man, I mean, they tried everything short of threatening to strap on a suicide vest and take us all out. It was a hard sell. All you have to do is sign here. It's okay. Sign here. I'm not signing anything. Finally, I look at the guy and I'm all, I don't know if this makes any difference, but I'm poor. I'm probably poorer than you are. So I'm not buying a timeshare today. I'm sorry. Can I have my free sunset dinner cruise, por favor? And we got it. I think I got a little sick from the chicken, to be honest with you, but it was lovely. It was a rickety boat. We got to sit by the water. It like did one loop and came back and docked. It was worth every penny of $0 is all I can really say. But that's when that's the first time I became skeptical of hard sells. And right now, they are doing everything they can to hard sell this vaccine. And it's only going to get worse. Who do they get? Morgan Freeman, because apparently people trust him. I don't. But hey, I'm skeptical. I'm naturally suspicious of people who try to put things into my body that I don't want there. However, as I've told you countless times over the past few months, at some point, to use the newest favorite phrase in the world, this will circle back on the church. And what I've thought about doing is pre-recording these programs about 6 weeks out and then airing them 6 weeks later, because that way I would be quote-unquote American prophetic. Because I told you about the fact that it would come back, it would circle back on the church, And somehow the church would become the prime target. And it's not for lack of getting big names to endorse taking the vaccine. Who was it? Some famous guy, the Samaritan's Purse guy. He said even Jesus would take the vaccine. I mean, that's a ringing endorsement, kids. If Jesus would do it. But, as I said, I'm still toying with it. I'll let Gino know at some point this week if we're going to do that, if we're going to become American prophetic. Because this is the new standard of the prophetic. People who basically regurgitate breaking news and go, this is the Lord showing me this. Shut up. Stop. You're tiresome. The Lord didn't show you anything. You saw it on some offbeat website. But yeah, we talked about it. And again, this is why every program has the date it aired, the date it was conceived, as it were, so that you would know I ain't joshing you. I'm not lying to you. When I told you that the church would come into the crosshairs of this little, coup d'etat, if you will, I was certain of it. So this is from the Associated Press, the AP, as it were, and the headline of the article is this: Vaccine skepticism runs deep among white evangelicals in the U.S. What about black Muslims? Are they getting in line, getting the vaccine? Are they lining up? Why is it that just white evangelicals are deeply skeptical of putting something like this in their body, which hasn't really had, enough, time to sort of show what the possible side effects a year later might be? And again, I know Donald Trump came up with it. He was wrong. He's pushing it. He's wrong. I don't care that it's Donald Trump. This is insanity on its face when you're encouraging everyone over the age of 16 to get shots in their arms, even though people are getting Bell's palsy. They can't feel their arms. They're getting all kinds of weird reactions and blood clots. And this is with everyone from YouTube to Google to Apple covering up any sort of side effect talk. The stories are still getting out with all these conglomerates having a chokehold on the truth. The president of the Southern Baptist Convention, America's largest evangelical denomination, posted a photo on Facebook last week of him getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I don't want to make the correlation, but it sort of makes itself. Because there's a lot of people wondering, how are Christians going to take the mark of the beast? I mean, shouldn't they know better? Well, when your spiritual leaders are rolling up their sleeves or offering up their foreheads, and you look up to them, and you listen intently to everything they have to say, and you take their word as gospel. Again, I don't believe the COVID vaccine is the mark of the beast. But it's a foreshadowing of how easy it will be for it to be implemented, for how easy it will be for it to be required, for how easy some will be deceived and fall into the trap. The president of the Southern Baptist Convention, America's largest evangelical denomination, posted a photo on Facebook last week of him getting the COVID-19 vaccine. It drew more than 1,100 comments, many of them voicing admiration. There you go. See? Because, well, let's just say the church has a very low barrier to entry nowadays. Other than a few shekels in an offering bin, there isn't much required of the individuals attending service. Many of them voicing admiration for the Reverend J.D. Greer, and many others assailing him. Some of the critics wondered if worshipers would now need vaccine passports to enter the Summit Church in Durham, North Carolina, where Greer is pastor. Others depicted the vaccines as satanic or unsafe, or suggested Greer was complicit in government propaganda. Well, at least not everyone has their head up their rear end. Because although I don't believe it's satanic or satanic, I've heard all the back and forth on it. I do believe that it's likely more unsafe than the disease itself. Funny how that works, isn't it? Now, whether Mr. Greer is complicit in government propaganda, I would have to say yes, indeed, yup, surely, because the government is trying to appeal to every segment and demographic for some unexplained reason, get jabbed in the arm. Are you young and healthy? Doesn't matter. You have antibodies already? Doesn't matter. Be patriotic. Get the shot. Get the shot. But I know somebody that can't move their arm and it's 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. That's so rare. It's like 1 out of 3. What are you, chicken? Why do you want to kill Grandma? But Grandma got the shot, and I understand. She's 95. You know, as far as long-term side effects, I don't think it's a big concern for Grandma. Grandma's not looking forward to the next 20, 30 years. Grandma's not interested or is concerned with or has even pondered the possibility of having children because she's 95. Grandma's long-term outlook, not so rosy. So if she could not get, the COVIDs by getting a shot in her arm, she'll roll the dice. She'll take the gamble. But if you're young and healthy and you want to procreate and reproduce and you have no clue what the long-term side effects, and before anyone gets started, it's uncertain that there's long-term side effects. Well, you know what? There's side effects for Tylenol. Tylenol has side effects. The stuff that people pop like Pez, that has side effects. You're telling me a quote-unquote vaccine that was rushed through, that 3 different companies came out with, got it 100% spot on 100% of the time? You're telling me that there's recalls for every medication under the sun. You've seen the commercial. And it's not just one. If you or any family member have taken Lupusol, Lupinet, Lupa whatever, hundreds and hundreds of medications, you may be eligible for compensation. But that went through the FDA. Those medicines that have such bad side effects that lawyers are suing the companies and getting money for people because they're growing a third year off of their rib cage or something. It wasn't an emergency use thing. These were approved by the Food and Drug Administration, and still the side effects are so bad in the long term that people are getting paid. And you're telling me that, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson finally got one thing right, all three across the board. Don't be afraid. It's nothing. You just boom, boom, you go. Excuse me? It's not nothing. There's people that are getting blood clots. It's not nothing. There's people that are dying. Who was it? Hank Aaron? Baseball player? Filmed a little propaganda bit of him getting the shot. Dead 3 days later. So stop trying to push this on people. Because the harder you push, the more resistant people will become. Because they'll start to think, why are you trying so hard? It's like going to see a car that you may be interested in buying. And a guy in a leisure suit with gold chains around his neck, sitting there just sweating profusely going, I'll give you a good deal. I'll give you a good deal. Come on, man. Cash, cash, cash. I'll give you a good deal. Well, can I test drive it first? Oh, we ain't got time for that, son. Cash money, cash money. And you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to pass. But you're not allowed to pass. Because, again, the vaccine skepticism runs deep among white evangelicals. Nobody else is skeptical. Not the Buddhists, not the Muslims. Nobody. You dirty, dirty white people, you white evangelicals, why are you so skeptical? When even the president of the Southern Baptist Convention rolled up his sleeve and got the shot. Look, they're running out of old people to inject. There is a skepticism that is valid. And it's made all the more valid because nobody's letting you talk about it. Whether on Google, whether on YouTube, whether anywhere. Again, I'm waiting for the day that they scrub our channel. But if everything's on the up and up, if everything's copacetic, as the kids like to say, why this unending continual push to silence anyone with an alternative viewpoint? So is the president of the Southern Baptist Convention complicit in government propaganda? I don't know. Ask Morgan Freeman. The divided reaction highlighted a phenomenon that has become increasingly apparent in recent polls and surveys. Vaccine skepticism is more widespread among white evangelicals than almost any other major bloc of Americans. White Christian, you're the problem. You're standing in the way of utopia. You're standing in the way of getting booster shots every 3 weeks for the new coronavirus. You're standing in the way of Moderna and all these other companies making billions of dollars by injecting you with stuff they have no clue what will do to you in 3, 4, 5 years. No. Roll up your sleeve and shut up. Welcome to the land of the free and the home of the brave. So that's a good question. Will Pastor Greer there require vaccine passports to go to church? Because, you know, WWJD. Apparently Jesus would take the vaccine too. I know. Surprise to me. Oh, and as an aside, because I've gotten a few emails about this, apparently there's a new Jewish Messiah. Some guy that they're calling him the new Jewish Messiah. Just look, this is as an aside. This is just a public service announcement, okay? If this was really a Messiah, he wouldn't need bifocals. It's a goofy Jewish guy with glasses. I'm sorry, since when is your Messiah myopic? If he's all powerful and such, maybe he should heal his own eyes first, huh? I healeth myself. There you go. No longer need glasses. Everybody's grasping. We're all looking for that magic something. So you have a nearsighted Messiah now. Guy runs into walls if he takes off his glasses, but hey, he's the savior of the Jewish people. Grow up. Honestly, the devil is making headway. And we're just sitting here picking our noses, wondering if we flick the booger on the ceiling, will it stick? In a March poll by the Associated Press, 40% of white evangelical Protestants said they likely won't get vaccinated, compared with 25% of all Americans, 28% of white mainline Protestants, and 27% of non-white Protestants. So look at you. White evangelical Protestants, you're the problem, but that's okay. Canada figured out how to solve the problem. Because remember what Uncle Mike said. It will come back on the church. The devil doesn't hate Democrats. The devil doesn't hate Republicans. The devil doesn't hate anyone but the people of God, Christians. Now, granted, the Democrats are in league with Lucifer and the devil and darkness and all that, but who am I to judge? If you're still happy about having voted for Joe Biden, good on you. Hey, Beth, how's it going? Canadian church shut down, fenced off for not following coronavirus rules. So remember the pastor that got arrested for a time in Canada because he still dared to have service? Well, a church in Alberta, Canada, has been shut down and fenced off by the Alberta government for running afoul of coronavirus rules. Alberta Health Services announced in a statement that Grace Life Church would stay closed until it can provide proof that it will comply with health restrictions, the Canadian press reported. CTV News reported that the police and security staff were around as chain-link metal fencing was installed around the church building and its parking lot Wednesday. The church located west of Edmonton dismissed public health warnings for months, and its pastor, James Coates, spent a month behind bars. Yes, we are the civilized West. We are for religious freedom here. Canada is a sister city sister nation to the United States, and we stand for religious freedom. Personal conscience and all that jazz. Coates was charged in February for violating coronavirus public health orders. He was then jailed for refusing to comply with a bail order that stated he could only hold services that followed public health orders. Meanwhile, you can burn down your neighborhood and rob jewelry stores and protest in the streets until you're blue in the face. Nobody's getting shut down for that because, you know, the coronavirus targets white evangelicals. And white evangelicals who attend church service are the super spreaders of society. So you have the AP declaring that vaccine skepticism runs deep among white evangelicals. You have the Canadians shutting down a church and putting fencing around it because they wouldn't comply. And there's no pushback, not really. I mean, we talk about it, and a handful of other people talk about it. But the big guns, as it were, well, the big guns are posting photos of themselves on Facebook getting the COVID vaccine. The big guns, like the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, he's encouraging Christians to just shut up and submit. It's better that way. It's easier. Don't bristle as they put the shackles around your neck. Don't bristle as they put the shackles around your arms. Don't bristle as they put the shackles around your feet. Don't bristle as they put the bridle between your teeth. Don't bristle. Follow their lead. Because you know, that's what Jesus would do. These are your spiritual leaders, kids. The president of the largest evangelical denomination. So, Billy Graham's son, Franklin, he was the one with the nugget of wisdom saying, hey, Jesus would take the vaccine. Yes, he would. Meanwhile, COVID-positive individuals are streaming across the border in Arizona and Texas and everywhere else as though they were going to picnic. Indeed. Because there's, without hypocrisy, what does the other side have, really? Let's be fair. Without hypocrisy, they've got nothing at all. So while they're demanding that you, a citizen of these United States, a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, go and get jabbed in the arm even though, you might even have had it and have had no symptoms. It doesn't matter. Look at me. I got the shot too. I wonder who they're going to drag out next. Franklin Graham already did the PSA for it. Apparently, all the Baptists are looking at their leader, the Reverend J.D. Greer. He's showing himself to be a true leader by, getting pumped full of experimental drugs. So brings us to the question. And I think seeing how certain religious leaders, let's call them that. I'm not even going to call them spiritual leaders because there's nothing spiritual about these people. Come on. You know it. I know it. We're fooling ourselves. I think if we, and by we I mean most of us, allow me to sip my beverage and then I'll make my point. If we had to acknowledge just how dire the situation is, if we had to acknowledge just how impotent our religious leaders are, if we had to acknowledge just how far we've strayed from truth, and how far afield we've been led by people like Dr. Greer, or Reverend Greer. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give him a doctorate, but that's what they did to Dr. Jill Biden. I know, Beth Moore, her hair's still flowing. Can you hablan español? CCPUD. CCC. Even Obama could irk out si se puede. I said it, yes, I said it with an American accent. Actually, it's si se puede. But anyway, the only interaction Jill Biden's ever had with a Mexican was when she had to fire her maid because, I don't know, she didn't properly clean the kitchen. And even then, she had to go and get the gardener who spoke a little English to tell her you're fired in Spanish. As has become a running commentary on this program, you people still have no idea what you've done, do you? And by you people, I mean the Beth Moores of the world, the John Pipers of the world, the self-righteous, the people that stood upon pedestals and said, nay, nay, the orange man must go, for we shall embrace a man in his adult diapers with onset dementia. And he shall lead us. Where is he leading us? What? Hyperinflation, being overrun by illegals. Gino just informed me that they caught 2 Pakistanis that were on the terror watch list trying to make it back across. I don't, you know what? I'll still know if you scrape off the Joe sticker from your car. Because you'll be the one wearing a mask alone in your car while driving down the street. You can't hide. But while all this is going on, have no fear. The world is sitting idly by and watching Joe Biden crater in on himself. No, nobody's doing anything as far as being aggressive because they're afraid. They're very afraid that Joe Biden will behold them with that deer in the headlights look, that where am I think I'm lost look, and go, come on, man. Just kidding. Artillery barrage in Ukraine. Russia TV talks nuclear first strike. What did I tell you? Huh? I know. Oh, Mike's just being hyperbolic. He's exaggerating. That's what he does. When he said he could eat a horse, that was an exaggeration. Well, you know what? Some things, sure. Maybe I can't eat a horse. Maybe just a horse steak. But when I told you that the aggressors in the world, the predators in the world, are looking at this administration and licking their lips, It was no exaggeration, I'm sorry. So artillery fire has broken out along the line of control between breakaway Oblast states, Luhansk, Donetsk, and the Ukrainian army this morning. The exchanges are described as heavy shelling. Now, the reason I know about this is because my brother Daniel was in the Ukraine until a couple days ago. We have an extensive network there. We help with food. We help churches. We do what we can because that's what we were called to do. But because of the renewed shelling, as it was so nicely put, he had to come back across the border to Romania because the Russians aren't backing down. Now, this article says this. Meanwhile, in Russia, television shows featuring former Russian army officers and some elected officials are openly talking about Russia having to use nuclear weapons over the Ukraine NATO troop buildup along the Russian border. The situation is deteriorating very badly, very fast. So I know, but Dr. Jill's hair on Lady Gaga's outfit. Who cares if we start World War III? As long as Beth Moore had a good day. All worth it. But, look. We're living in times that I don't think much of the church can appreciate even. All that talk about the last days, it doesn't have to be in the future tense anymore. We are living in the last days. And because we are living in the last days, the enemy knows and understands that his time is limited. He knows that the clock is about to run out. And his only desire is to harm as much of the church as he can until his time runs out. If you're hoping for rainbows and unicorns, you're going to suffer great, great disappointment. We've only seen the beginning. It seems like a lot longer, but this administration's only been in power, 2 months and change. And the only thing that could have been a bulwark, the only thing that could have been a barrier to the more destructive ideas is the church. And rather than standing up and saying, no, we've seen this play before, we know how it ends, first you mandate that we get stuck in the arm, then you mandate that we shut down the church, because even if we got stuck in the arm, you can still transmit the virus, and you know what? If you sing or praise Jesus, that's just killing people. But see, wisdom has become a rare commodity indeed. And what people like Franklin Graham and good old Reverend J.D. Greer are doing is painting a target on your back and my back and the backs of all those that still retain their healthy skepticism. Now, to finish off this article, it continues and it says, the findings have aroused concern even within evangelical circles. The National Association of Evangelicals, which represents more than 45,000 local churches, is part of a new coalition that will host events, work with media outlets, and distribute various public messages to build trust among weary evangelicals. Trust of what? For what? If you got vaccinated, why must I? I mean, you're immune. You know what? I'll risk it. I'll risk the sniffles. I will sign a paper declaring that if I do get the sniffles, I will not seek medical attention. Good enough? No. You got to get the shot. The shot will save you. But I'm already saved. No, that's not what we meant. I don't care. Listen to this. The pathway to ending the pandemic runs through the evangelical church, said Curtis Chang, a former pastor and missionary who founded ChristiansandTheVaccine.com. IPropaganda2you.com. You are too stupid to make up your own decision.com. Shut up and give me your arm.com. The cornerstone of the new initiative, with white evangelicals comprising an estimated 20% of the U.S. population, resistance to vaccination by half of them would seriously hamper efforts to achieve herd immunity, Chang contends. Chang contends. I was just reading through. I didn't mean to, but, you know, same thing, isn't it? Chang. Anyway, herd immunity, dear children, has nothing to do with the vaccine. If, when this thing came ashore, they would have let it run its course, we would have herd immunity by now. I think most places already have it. But, man, they got to milk this cow. This was a gift from on high, was it not? They got to keep milking this cow until there's nothing of the udder left. Because this is a once-in-a-100-year pandemic. You can't let this sort of thing go to waste, son. Bring me your arm. Just like the Reverend J.D. Greer did. So the pathway to ending the pandemic now runs through the evangelical church. So here's a question. How long before they start to blame the church for every new death, COVID-related or otherwise? By the way, less people died in 2020 than in 2017 and 2016, and about the same as in 2018. I'm just saying. I know, this is a pandemic and we're all going to die because you white evangelicals are skeptical. But hey, you know what? Curtis Chang will save us all. And if you don't want to be saved, well, then you're just going to get, re-educated. Could you imagine Curtis Chang trying to re-educate you? Chang trying to re-educate you. Many evangelical leaders have spoken in support of vaccinations, ranging from Dallas megachurch pastor Robert Jeffers to the Reverend Russell Moore, head of the Southern Baptists public policy arm. You remember that old saying your mama used to have? If everyone else jumps off a bridge, does that mean you should too? Evangelical leaders have spoken in support of vaccination. So, hey, that makes it okay then. Never mind your conscience. Never mind your skepticism. Never mind the aggregate data that is being leaked regarding side effects. Nay, nay. Megachurch pastors and evangelical leaders have spoken in support of vaccination. Because why pray for healing anymore? That just takes time out of your golf. We got tea time. We can't be standing there oil anointing people and praying over them. That's what they used to do in the old days before vaccine. Now you just give vaccinations a thumbs up and go on about your day. Thank you, Robert Jeffers. Thank you, Reverend Russell Moore. I feel so much better about it now. You take these people and then you add Morgan Freeman to the mix? I'm about to go punch an old lady and take her place in line. That's how much I want to get vaccinated now. Jeffers believes a majority of his congregation at First Baptist Dallas welcome the vaccine with open arms until the partial paralysis sets in. While some have doubts about their safety or worry they have links to abortion. Jeffers is among numerous religious leaders who say the leading vaccines are acceptable given their remote indirect links to lines of cells developed from aborted fetuses. So basically, Pastor Jeffers took on papal powers now. If he say he's okay, then he's okay. In nomine Patri, Filii, Spiritus Sancti, go, you are forgiven. Hey, they're acceptable. It's what numerous religious leaders say. Thumbs up. Remember those old ads? Because I have some of those like old 60s and 70s magazines where 4 out of 5 doctors said that Camel non-filters were the best brand ever. If you're gonna smoke the Camel non-filter. More flavor for your dollar. Look, I hope I'm wrong about this, but at a certain point, some of these people who took it upon themselves to play moral arbiter, some of these people who took it upon themselves to dictate to other people what they should or shouldn't do, will think that what happened to Gaddafi was merciful in contrast to what will happen to them. I hope I'm wrong. But as per usual, more often than not, I'm not wrong. If your religious leaders have become nothing more than propagandists. If your religious leaders have become nothing more than shills for government, do you see it as a far stretch for them to encourage you to take, I don't know, say the mark of the beast? Just a thought. Because, hey, if the leading vaccines are acceptable given their remote indirect links to lines of cells developed from aborted fetuses, why wouldn't a mark on your hand or on your forehead be? It's just there, under the skin. You won't even know it. And you can go on about your life. Just do this one thing, and you can go on about your life. Why don't you just want to obey? Every major religious leader says you should. Think about that. Understand that few are chosen among the many who are called. And if you are fortunate enough to be among the chosen, then be certain that if they hated your master, they will hate you. And then deal with it accordingly. All right. We didn't even have time for questions today. We just ran through the hour. I have no clue what I talked about, but I'm sure it was something very exciting. But yeah, just remember, you may not be as handsome as me, but you can have the peace of mind. Just go and get your shot. God bless you guys. Thank you for listening. Those of you that keep sending me stuff on Facebook, stop encouraging me. All right? It's no good for anyone. God bless you. Gino, if you got anything to say, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. Well, I'm reminded of one thing that holds true, that if people force people or try to, even in the church, get people to feel they have to take the vaccine, they're also strengthening the hand of those that will make it illegal for people to travel or move about without getting the vaccine, the old vaccine passport mentality. That is total loss of freedom, total loss of moral agency and choice. And that's why when people like Franklin Graham come out and say, even Jesus would take the vaccine, the answer is that, first of all, Jesus would never take the vaccine. He doesn't need the vaccine. Second of all, Christ gives us free choice to say no to things that we feel are against our moral decency, our moral freedom. And we don't know enough about this vaccine to even endorse it on any level. Is it the overall answer, COVID? No, God's the answer to COVID, and the power of God's the answer to a plague. You read in the Old Testament about the plagues. You read about the plague of the firstborn being killed in Egypt, and look at what God said. Put blood on the doorpost, and the angel will pass over, the angel of death. God has an answer for every plague, and it first starts with him. The answer is from God, the power of God, the healing power of God. And if he knows the hairs on our head, he knows how to keep us and be with us. And yes, many Christians have died from this disease, but they saw heaven sooner than others. And they had the ultimate healing, to be with the Lord. But what Mike's trying to say is this is a litmus test and a precursor to the institution of the mark. And Mike shared today. God bless you. Thank you for listening to the Light of Truth radio broadcast.
Thank you for listening to today's broadcast, The Light of Truth with Michael Boldea. If you would like to order a copy of today's broadcast, please visit our website at handofhelp.com. If you have questions about our ministry, you can email us at handofhelpoffice@aol.com or simply call us at 920-206-9910. God bless you.